Hi, I'm Alex, the next door. When I first moved into that old apartment building on the edge of town, I thought I had found peace. It was small, quiet, and cheap. Too cheap, actually. My friend Daniel had just bought the place and renovated it himself. Fresh paint, new floors, clean walls. It was supposed to be temporary, 6 months, maybe less, until he found a buyer. But peace didn't last long. The first time I heard her, it was around 2 a.m. A woman's voice coming through the thin wall that separated my living room from the apartment next door. She was praying, or at least I think she was. Her voice trembled, cracked, sometimes rising into a shriek before falling into murmurs that sounded more like arguments than prayers. At first, I tried to ignore it. Headphones, white noise, sleeping pills. Nothing worked. One night, after 3 days without sleep, I walked next door and knocked. The door opened just a few inches, and there she was. Her name was Mrs. Hargrove, she told me, but her voice didn't match her words. She looked about 45, but her face was carved by something older, not time, not life, something heavier. Through the narrow opening, I saw her apartment. The walls were covered in crosses, not hanging, painted, scratched, carved. Dozens of them, layered on top of each other like a desperate plea. Between them, words scrawled in red and black ink. Jesus saves. They're watching. Angels inside. Her windows were painted black. The air inside was heavy, like a tomb. I saw cockroaches scatter across the carpet as she moved. And then the smell. Mold, rot, and something metallic. I asked her to please keep it down. She didn't answer. She just stared at me with eyes that seemed to shine without any light, then shut the door. That night, the prayers got louder. The next evening, my girlfriend Emma came to stay over. Around 3 a.m., I woke up because I felt something wrong, the kind of wrong that freezes your body before your mind can name it. In the faint light from the street, I saw a silhouette standing next to the bed, perfectly still, watching us. I thought it was a dream, but then it moved. "You should lock your doors at night," she whispered. Mrs. Hargrove was standing there, barefoot, holding something in her hand. When I reached for the lamp, she turned and walked out slowly, leaving the front door wide open behind her. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning I saw her outside, right below my window. She was kneeling on the ground, rocking back and forth, speaking in a language I didn't understand. There was a plastic bag beside her. Inside it, a dead dog. The smell of decay drifted up to my window like poison. I went to another neighbor's apartment, a guy named Tom. Before I even said anything, he looked terrified. "She broke into my place last week," he whispered. "She was behind the couch while I was watching TV with my kids. She had a power drill in her hand." That's when I realized what she'd been holding in my room that night. We called the police. They told us they knew her, that she was a violent schizophrenic who hadn't taken her meds in years. But they couldn't enter her apartment unless she let them in. All they could do was wait for her to come outside. So I waited. 2 days straight, no sleep. Every creak, every shadow felt like her.
Please like the video, subscribe to the new Spine-Chilling Tales channel, and write in the comments which story you liked the most.
At 2 a.m. on the third night, I heard her door creak open. She walked slowly, wrapped in a filthy coat, and crossed the street toward the gas station. I called the cops. They arrived within minutes, 3 cars, a van. They took her quietly. No struggle, no screams. She just smiled as they pushed her into the van and said, "He's still in there." I thought she meant her dog. A week passed. I tried to forget. The silence felt like mercy. Until one night, I heard something. A soft scratching sound from inside the wall. Then a faint whisper, low and broken. "Help me." I froze. It came again, clearer this time. "Please, it's dark. I can't move." The voice was coming from inside the wall between our apartments, from her side. But she was gone. I called Daniel, my landlord. He came the next morning with a maintenance guy. They started cutting into the drywall, following the sound. When they opened the section near my bed, the smell hit us first. The stench of rot, of death. Inside the wall there was a cavity, and in that cavity there was a man, curled up, lifeless, his face twisted in silent terror. The cops came again. They said the body had been there for months, maybe a year. Mrs. Hargrove didn't live alone after all. That night I lay awake staring at the wall where they'd found him. The apartment was quiet, empty, but around 3 a.m. I heard it again. The same faint, raspy voice coming from inside the wall. "You should lock your doors at night." The calling. I used to work the night shift at a campground just outside of Helena, Montana. My hours were midnight to 8 a.m., 8 long, quiet hours alone in a tiny 8x8 shack, surrounded by miles of dark pine forest. Honestly, it wasn't bad at first. I'd bring my old PS2, play games through the night, and deal with maybe 1 or 2 campers coming in late. But once the generator lights went off and the forest went still, the silence was suffocating. During my first week, the guy I was replacing, Carl, told me about something weird. "See that payphone over there?" he said, pointing to a booth a few feet from the shack. "Every night at 4:17 a.m. it rings. Just once. Don't bother answering. It's probably some old line test or something." He said it so casually, but something about the exact time, 4:17 a.m., stuck with me. For months, I didn't think much about it. The summer heat kept the windows shut, and I couldn't hear a thing outside. But when August rolled in and the air cooled, I started leaving the windows open. And sure enough, the first night I did, at exactly 4:17 a.m., the phone rang. Just once. The sound was strange, muffled, like it was underwater. It echoed faintly through the trees, followed by the buzz of the night insects, stopping all at once. After that, it happened every single night. One single ring. Always at 4:17. Eventually, curiosity got the better of me. One night I set an alarm for 4:15, walked out to the booth, and waited. The glass of the payphone was smeared with grime, and the receiver was sticky, like someone had been breathing into it. At exactly 4:17, it rang. I answered.
Nothing.
Please like the video, subscribe to the new Spine Chilling Tales channel, and write in the comments which story you liked the most.
Just static. No breathing. No voice. I said hello a few times, then hung up. I did this every night for a week. Same thing every time. Silence, then a faint hum like electricity running through water. Eventually, I gave up and stopped answering. About a month later, in early October, I decided to try one last time. The air had turned colder. The forest was quiet enough that I could hear my own heartbeat. I stood by the payphone as the clock on my phone turned to 4:17. It rang. I picked up. At first, nothing. Then I heard something faint. Someone inhaling through clenched teeth. Then a voice, deep, coarse, like someone gargling gravel. It spoke my full name, my first, my middle, my last. I froze. I'd never heard that voice before. It wasn't human. It scratched through the line like it was forcing its way through static. I slammed the phone down. My hands shaking, I fumbled for change, dropped a few coins into the slot, and dialed *69 to trace the last call. The machine clicked, then spoke. The last incoming call originated from California. I live in Montana. I didn't know anyone in California. But something made my stomach turn. The old employee, Carl, had mentioned he was moving back home when he quit. To California. The next night, at 4:17, I stayed inside the shack. The phone rang again, that single haunting ring. But this time, it didn't stop. It kept ringing, over and over. When I finally looked outside, the booth's light was on, and someone was standing inside. Their hand on the receiver, their head tilted like they were listening. I couldn't see the face clearly, just the reflection of mine in the glass. The next morning, I asked the park manager about Carl. He stared at me like I'd said something insane. "Carl, you must be mistaken. We found his truck abandoned last winter, out near the highway to California. He'd gone missing months before you started." That night, the phone didn't ring at 4:17. It rang at 4:16. And this time, it didn't sound like it was underwater. It sounded like it was inside the shack.
Last night, my friend Tyler begged me to go out. He wanted me to join him at a small bar downtown for a live music night. I didn't want to go. For the past few days, I'd been feeling watched. Every time I walked past my bedroom window, I could swear someone was standing outside. But Tyler insisted, so I went. The bar was crowded. The air smelled like beer, sweat, and cigarette smoke. For a while, I even started to relax. The music was loud, people were laughing, and the unease that had followed me all week began to fade. Until I realized my phone was gone. I checked my pockets, the table, the bar, even the bathroom. Nothing. Tyler handed me his phone so I could call mine. After 2 rings, Someone picked up, but they didn't say a word. And then I heard it.
Please like the video, subscribe to the new Spine Chilling Tales channel, and write in the comments which story you liked the most.
A laugh, low, raspy, slow, too slow to be human. And then they hung up. I called again, voicemail. Again, nothing. Tyler told me to forget about it, but that laugh, it sounded familiar, like I'd heard it inside my own house. When I got home, everything was dark, but the silence was heavy. That kind of silence that breathes right beside you. Then I saw it, light leaking from under my bedroom door, my phone's flashlight. The beam was moving, as if someone was pacing inside. I called out, "Hello?" But my voice cracked halfway through. The light stopped moving. Silence. I pushed the door open slowly. My phone was on the nightstand, the screen still glowing. 3 calls made to Tyler's number at the exact same times I had called earlier. But the last call had lasted 23 seconds, and I'd only heard that laugh for 3. What happened during the other 20? I picked up my phone. My wallpaper had changed. It used to be a picture of me and Tyler at the lake. Now it was a picture of me, taken from my bedroom doorway just a few hours earlier. A new message appeared. Missed call, 1:47 a.m. from myself. The phone rang again. Same number, my number. I answered. No laugh this time, no breathing, just my own voice whispering, calm and close. Don't look behind you. When I was a kid, I lived in a small, quiet town in northern Maine, the kind of place where fog rolled in thick every morning, and the pine trees whispered when the wind passed through them. My parents both worked early shifts, so I was always the last kid to get picked up by the school bus. It became routine, me standing there alone at the edge of the gravel road, waiting in the mist, listening to the distant hum of the forest waking up. But one morning was different. The fog was heavier than usual, almost suffocating, and the air was colder too. My breath hung in front of me like smoke. I remember thinking it felt too quiet. No birds, no wind, nothing, just silence. Then, out of the fog, I saw the headlights. The yellow bus appeared slowly, its shape emerging like a ghost. But something was off. The engine sounded wrong. It growled instead of humming, and when it stopped in front of me, I could see that the windows were dark, pitch black. Still, the door creaked open. The driver leaned out. He was smiling.
But it wasn't the friendly smile I was used to from Mr. Andrews, the regular driver. This one felt stretched, like his face didn't know how to smile naturally anymore. "Hop on, kid," he said. His voice was deep and calm, too calm. I looked behind him. The bus was completely empty. "Where are the other kids?" I asked. He didn't blink. "We'll pick them up next. You're first today. Come on." Something in his tone made my skin crawl. I took a step back. "No, I'll wait for the next one," I said. His expression didn't change, but the corners of his smile twitched. Then he leaned closer, one hand gripping the side of the door, and I could see that his nails were black, like they'd been burned. "You don't want to be late," he whispered. "It's a long drive if you miss this one." I froze. Every instinct screamed at me to run. "I'll wait," I repeated. For a long moment, he just stared at me, the smile fading. Then he shrugged, a strange, stiff motion, and closed the doors. The bus rolled away slowly, disappearing back into the fog. A few minutes later, the real bus arrived. Mr. Andrews waved like he always did, cheerful and sleepy. I got on, sat in my usual seat, and tried to shake off the uneasy feeling. That night, I told my parents what had happened. I'll never forget their faces. My mom went pale. My dad immediately started calling the school district, the police, anyone who might know something. The school transportation office confirmed that there were no substitute drivers that day, no replacement buses, nothing. The next morning, 2 officers came to our house. They asked me questions, trying to get every detail I could remember. The bus number, the driver's face, his voice. But when I tried to describe him, it all blurred together. I couldn't remember his eyes, only that smile. A week passed, and things went back to normal, mostly. But sometimes, early in the morning, I would wake up before dawn and hear a low rumble somewhere far down the road, like an engine idling in the fog. I'd peek through the blinds, and once or twice I thought I saw headlights lingering in the distance. Then, one morning, a letter arrived. No return address, just my name written on the envelope in shaky handwriting. Inside was a folded piece of paper. There were 4 words on it. "You missed your stop." My parents called the police again, but there was nothing they could do. No fingerprints, no clues, nothing. Years passed. I moved away, went to college, tried to forget about it. But some nights I'd wake up to the faint sound of a bus engine outside, always around 6:40 a.m., the same time I used to get picked up as a kid. Last year, after my dad passed, I went back to my hometown to help my mom pack the old house. I couldn't sleep that first night. The forest felt heavier, the silence thicker. Around dawn, I went outside to get some air.
And that's when I heard it. The engine, deep, low, coming from the same dirt road where I used to wait for the bus. Through the fog, I saw the shape of it, old, rusted, paint peeling, the windows still black. The door opened, and the driver stepped out. He hadn't aged a day. Same face, same stretched smile, same voice when he said, "Been a long time, kid."
Still waiting? The door closed, and the bus pulled away slowly, disappearing into the fog once again. When I ran to the road, there were no tire marks, no sound, nothing. But every morning since then, at exactly 6:40, I still hear it. That same engine, that same whisper in the wind. You missed your stop.